This is KGW News at Sunrise.
I'm very glad that our students went back to school yesterday in Portland.
That is Oregon Governor Tina Kotek weighing in on the end of the teacher strike. Her comments coming the very same day that both the teachers union and the Portland Public School Board approved the new teachers contract. Even with that new deal, though, some are saying it does not eliminate the problems within the public school system. We'll have more on that coming up in our top story. Plus,
this is the broadest and most sweeping liability waiver that I've ever seen filed.
That's what an attorney representing consumers had to say about Pacific Power's recent request to limit the amount of money it'd have to pay out in the future if it gets hit with a lawsuit after a wildfire. What their request could mean for your wallet in just about 5 minutes.
We're also talking about the biggest game of the college football season for the Oregon Ducks this morning. They're going to face Washington Friday night in the Pac-12 Conference Championship, so we're going to fill you in on all the coverage we have planned from Las Vegas. Coming up here in just a few minutes.
Yay, happy Wednesday. Glad you're here with us. That big game on Friday.
Yeah.
Before that, big news in the weather world. Rain.
Very animated. Very animated.
Let's get you going. Today is the final dry day, and to Christine's point, the rain starts tomorrow, and then just like that, we're into a rainy pattern that will be with us into the mid part of next week at least. Good visibility this morning. Partly cloudy. There are some cloudiness areas around, but also some twinkling stars to be found. 28 at the airport, 27 in Hillsboro, 27 Scappoose, and colder than it's been actual temperature on the east side because the east winds have started to fizzle out. So maybe some of you seeing frost for the very first time on the ground. To the bus stop we go. Cold and frosty. We'll say 30 on average out the door, 45 at noon, 47 degrees. Have the kids find their raincoats later today before they go to bed. They'll need them tomorrow. Here's Chris McGinnis.
Rod, we take you over to the east side. A live look from our Rose City Sky Camera. A lot to look at here at the I-5, I-84 interchange. You can see all the roads, the Burnside Bridge, Moda Center, and not a lot of traffic just yet. So we're in pretty good shape there. We switch gears, taking to the Sylvan Hill. A few more cars coming down from Highway 26 past Skyline Boulevard. Again, a little busier on that side of town, getting busier out of Clark County. But so far, we're in really good shape. I did want to point this out. Another cold and frosty morning, especially in the southern Willamette Valley. This is well down towards the Eugene area, but if you are heading south, you see fog out there this morning. There could be some slick spots on the road, so just watch out for that. Otherwise, guys, no major issues just yet.
Good to know. Thank you, Chris.
All in favor indicate by saying yes.
Yes.
Yes. The resolution passes 7-0.
Our top story this morning, the new contract between the Portland Public School District and Portland Association of Teachers gets the final stamp of approval. Last night, both the school board and union voted to approve the 3-year contract. Devin Haskins is here with us this morning. And Devin, it took us months to get to an agreement on this deal.
Yeah, we're talking about almost a year between the first negotiation to the first day back and after the strike ended. Just before 5:30 on Tuesday, PAT members voted to ratify their contract with the district with 95% support. Then a few hours later, the school board did the same, all 7 members, as you just heard, saying yes. Classes resumed for the tens of thousands of students in the district on Monday after nearly 4 full weeks of the teachers' strike. Both sides agreeing to a 13.8% cost of living increase over the next 3 years for the teachers. There were also some class size thresholds and more planning time included in that contract. The district says this will cost around $175 million over the next 3 years. Governor Tina Kotek said the state will now address issues educators have brought up. And at Tuesday night's board meeting, some also raised a need for healing and hoped for a more productive way forward.
Getting frank with the legislature about where are we on the funding formula that funds our schools. What we heard was current service level didn't do it. We have outstanding needs around wage growth in our schools and related to contracts. So we have to, I think, take a deep dive on how we're doing our school funding formula.
The governor also talked about creating an Office of Transparency within the Oregon Department of Education to make budget info the state already collects more accessible and easier to understand. It's also worth noting we've talked about the missed days being made up. Well, the school board told the district to look at possible alternatives to students losing half of their winter break. We'll keep you updated if any changes on that front are made. Drew.
All right, good job, Devin, wrapping that all up for us. Of course, we'll continue to cover the resolution of the teacher strike here on KGW. In fact, you can check out the fine print of the new teachers deal with the school district online at kgw.com.
Pacific Power, which was found liable for its role in the 2020 Labor Day wildfires, now wants the state to step in when it comes to future lawsuits. You may remember in June, a Multnomah County jury found Pacific Power's parent company, PacifiCorp, liable for some of the 2020 Labor Day wildfire damage. The company was ordered to pay $90 million. Now, attorneys for the company are asking the state to set a cap on liability because of what it calls increasing risk of wildfires. The company argues that limiting liability is good for customers who may end up footing the cost of court fees. But an attorney representing consumers says there's no guarantee Oregon customers would ever be hit with court bills.
And we feel that now is not the time for a utility that was just found to be grossly negligent to try to be precluding future customers from potential injury and liability from facts and cases that are not yet known.
At this point, Pacific Power has not requested a rate hike to cover the costs of litigation, but that is an option.
We're just 2 days away from the Pac-12 championship game slated for Las Vegas. So we've got the 5th-ranked Oregon Ducks taking on the undefeated and 3rd-ranked Washington Huskies Friday. The Ducks will be looking for revenge, of course, after that heartbreaking 3-point loss to the Huskies earlier this season. We've got a heartbreaker of our own in Las Vegas. There he is.
Look at that smile.
Smiling proudly. Yeah, that's right. On this Wednesday morning, Orlando Sanchez on his way to Vegas. He's going to cover the Ducks for us there for the next few days. In fact, he'll have a report for us tomorrow morning on Sunrise. I'm very excited to see Orlando's coverage down there in Sin City. Yeah.
Meanwhile, the future of the Pac-12 is still up in the air. The Washington State Supreme Court has put a ruling on hold that would have given Oregon State and Washington State control of the conference. A lower court granted the two universities exclusive voting rights 2 weeks ago, meaning they'd control the Pac-12's wallet. But the University of Washington, one of the schools intending to leave the conference, requested that ruling be put on hold until the state Supreme Court could weigh in. That request was granted yesterday. The Beavers and Cougars are continuing to argue they should be the only ones to determine the future of the conference as the final two remaining schools.
Now to the saga around the future of the Pac-12. Didn't you just do this story, Christine?
I did.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll tell you about a different story. Let's talk about the Beavers hiring a new head football coach because you know that news just came down. We're talking about the Beavers, their big hire here, Trent Bray. He was the defensive coordinator for the Beavs, so he's obviously familiar with the program. And a lot of Beavers fans still remember him as a standout linebacker for the team back in the early 2000s. I believe the years were 2002 to 2005. So, man, the day after Jonathan Smith is announced as the new head coach of the Michigan State Spartans, we've got Trent Bray on board to lead the Beavers in Corvallis.
You may take him to the Rose Bowl next year, you know.
Wow. Prediction from Rodney Hill.
Just saying.
I'll tell you what, if I was Jonathan Smith, I would much rather have my current Oregon State Beavers team and take the whole team with me to East Lansing, Michigan, than the current team who is established there at Michigan State.
Yeah, he's got some work, some rebuilding to do. Let's take a look at temperatures. I'm spending a lot of time showcasing the gorge today because it's 28 in Portland. Here come those gorge temperatures. 31 Odell, 32 Hood River, Mosier is the same, the Dallas 34. Starting here because you folks may be getting snow, not rain tomorrow. In fact, it's looking increasingly likely that that's what you'll end up with. So the moisture comes in tomorrow morning. A dry start tomorrow. It could be close to noon before you really get anything substantial in the gorge at all. Now, afternoon temperatures, mainly I'm looking for Hood River to the Dalles, but maybe the snow is also back into Cascade Locks and Stevenson. 32 to 36. We think everything that falls tomorrow will be snow. Now, if temperatures stay above freezing, that means 84 during the day would be fine. But a pretty good bet the temperatures will settle around 32 Thursday night into early Friday morning, and that opens the door for some accumulation along the Columbia River, 1 to 4. And then Friday morning warming, I think no later than 10 a.m., everything is warmed, everything switches to rain, and then you're off and running with just a rainy weekend like the rest of us going into Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday. All right, so we're keeping an eye on the gorge. We have Futurecast showing a dry, partly cloudy afternoon today. Here's the first wave of shower activity and rain tomorrow morning. Currently, it looks like the rain would pick up. We'd have some morning showers and would pick up a little bit around the noon hour. And then here we go into the afternoon. This blue color, that's all snow falling in the gorge. Begin temperatures along 84 have a decent chance to be above 32. You've got winter storm watch conditions during the afternoon moving into the Cascades with accumulating snow at pass level. You got more waves of rain. Here we are Friday morning early, 5 a.m. Snow in the gorge, snow in the Cascades. Here's 10 o'clock Friday. There are multiple weather models that show that is the bewitching hour of temperatures warming up and transitioning to all rain in the gorge along I-84. Heavy rain pockets inland, snow continuing in the Cascades into the weekend. I'll talk more about the Cascade forecast coming up at 6:38 this morning, but winter storm watch developing tomorrow through Saturday for the high country. How much rain? 3-4 inches at the coast, well over 2 inches in the valley. Going to be a soaker. Wow. Again, it's a cold, frosty morning. Notice trout is a 40, just a little bit of an east wind there. But away from the immediate opening of the gorge, east winds have faded enough that most of you are frosty and freezing this morning. Coldest spot right now on the map is 8 down in Burns. Forecast highs today back up generally into the mid-40s. Some areas could be a little bit warmer, partly cloudy skies. Most of us will see light winds. Most gorge winds today will be gusting to 20. Battleground 46, Vancouver 47, Portland the same. We'll be watching morning temperatures all areas in the morning, by the way, but I think the only problem we're really going to have is out in the gorge. And there's the wet weather into the weekend. There you go for now.